Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Shawn, and before we jump in this episode, I just wanted to give you a quick note. Something that if you can do for us would be amazing. It is the 2022 Podcast Awards going on right now. It's our 7th year trying to get into the slate. If you don't know, there's a nomination period all through July 1st through the end of the month. Go to podcastawards.com, pick out Language of Bromance for the Best Host Award. Like I said, it's our 7th year. We're trying to make the slate. If we make the slate, that means we get voted on. Actually, not really voted on, but we get actual people listening to the show telling us if it's good or bad, and then we could win Best Male Host. So please go to podcastawards.com and nominate Language of Bromance for the Best Male Host. All right, now for the show.
Now I am.
I'm recording too. Cool. It's like we're in. Bye. Don't you do it. Do it. You know, that's like kids these days probably look at them like we did New Kids on the Block, if you think about it.
Fuck you, Shawn. I listen to New Kids on the Block. God, I hate you sometimes.
I saw something.
You know how sometimes I feel old? Well, here, you want to feel really old? Well, just put me on an ice floe and send me out to sea, you son of a bitch. I hate you so much. You're an asshole.
God, was there something that made me feel old? So there's this thing. I don't know if you've ever heard it. Have you ever heard of rubber duck problem solving?
No.
So
rubber duck problem solving.
So you know, like when you're trying to work through a problem and like you're banging your head for like 2 hours and you go, you're like, I got to talk to somebody about this. And so you go and you start explaining the problem to them. And before you even finish explaining, you're like, never mind, I figured out what I need to do.
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, so basically you've like that person's your rubber duck. And so this person came up with the ideas like, well, you have a rubber duck at your desk or wherever, and when you're having a problem, you explain your problem to your rubber duck, and before you know it, you figured out your problem. So
is that like having a pineapple on your wall?
No, that's different. That's when you want to bang somebody's wife and have them bang your wife.
I actually learned the pineapple thing. The pineapple has to be upside down.
Yeah, but even if if you see a pineapple in somebody's house, like or not a pineapple, but like a pineapple picture just randomly, like, yeah, it's still like, actually, you know, you walk in, you're like, why isn't your pineapple upside down? Don't you think I'm attractive? But yeah, it has to be upside down.
Flip this around. All right.
But apparently,
looks like somebody's DTF.
So apparently, so at work, when I heard about that, I've been giving those out to people, like people I work with. And like this week, we had a new guy. I gave him one, so I explained it to him. And then like somebody came over to talk to him. Was like, "Oh, you got a rubber duck?" I was like, "Oh, hey, how about this rubber duck thing?" Apparently, somebody on the other wall was like, "I've heard that fucking story like 3 times." And like I had that like, man, my grandpa does that. He like retells stories over and over. And you know, he probably knows we know it, but he doesn't care. He just wants to retell the story. And I felt the exact same way.
No. See, here's the ultimate, like, I feel old story. Okay, so you know that I was looking to pick up some extra cash, so I'm doing this extra gig like on like a couple nights a week. So there's a person that I work with that I was talking to, and he was telling me about his parents, and I was like, I think I know your parents. And as soon as I realized who his parents were, I did the math, and I realized that I worked with both his parents when this kid's mom was pregnant with him. Oh. And in that moment, I wanted to be put on a boat, and I wanted that boat to be set on fire, and I wanted it to be pushed out onto a lake.
You're like, I knew you when you were in the womb.
Yeah. And then I'm like, I need to go find an elephant graveyard so I can lay down in it and never leave. That's what needs to happen right now. It was terrible.
Well, if you want to feel a little bit older, Richard, what we're doing tonight?
No, I don't. No,
It'll be
I don't.
It'll be the 66th time we've done it.
God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you do this?
We've almost done a year of these, Richard. Actually, no, we did over a year.
It's been over. I feel like you're just being mean now. You're just you're being mean-spirited.
And I know you were texting me the other night. You're like, I was trying to get intimate with my wife and it just didn't work. And I was like, man, I'm sorry. Blue Chew. You're like, no, but it was kind of nice. I was like, she's like, hey, you want it? You're like, no, not really. And I just went and read a book.
Yeah.
She's like, is it me? You're like, no.
And read a book.
This is honestly like really amazing for me. I think I'm going to write a novel.
Yeah. I flipped all the pineapple pictures right side up and then I sat down and got cracking on a new screenplay.
Oh.
It was fantastic.
It's God's wickedest trick. Men, as they get older, it stops working, and women are like, you know what I've been wanting now for what I want now that I had wanted when you were in the mood all the time? Cruelest trick in the book.
I know. Isn't that just like Mother Nature's just like sweet, delicious irony?
Yeah.
That basically like male and female sex drives like basically like go opposite directions.
I always wondered if it's that or if it's just because the guys are less like into it.
No, I think it's my thing.
There's science though, isn't it? There's science behind that.
Because I say that because like single women, like their sex drive, it seems to, I mean, obviously not a woman, so I don't know, but it seems that their sex drive goes up as they get older. I'm not saying that a 70-year-old like has the sex drive of a 17-year-old male. Because I don't think anyone has the sex drive of a 17-year-old male.
No. It's like, look at that peach. Oh.
Look at that hole in a fucking rusted out wall. Oh, my God.
All right, let's do this draft before we get really weird and creepy.
Before?
So this one time, Richard, I saw this rusty hole.
And recording.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the nerdiest competition ever created by the Language of Bromance team. In this corner, obsessed with Star Wars and anything with swords, Richard! And in this corner, obsessed with the Ninja Turtles and scared of anything from the ocean, Shawn! In association with the LOB Army. Tonight's competition is a Language of Bromance draft.
What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we are speaking the language of bromance. And today, it's another draft. And Shawn's going to do his best to not make me feel old.
Oh.
So I'm sure that the topic that he has selected is something that's not going to make me, contemplate like my mortality.
No, not it. So, Richard,
and the fact that I am closer to the end to my twilight years than he is. And he's going to make me feel like a young, vibrant, youthful person.
Oh, well, Richard, we did one of these that I think probably would have made you feel old. We did a bucket list draft, where it's like, what do you want to do before you die? And I thought, Richard, we should do the opposite of that. We want to do the anti-bucket list, the things we will never do for the rest of our lives. Something that we probably never have done or will never do again. The anti-bucket list. This is the 66th time we have done a draft, Richard. We have done 66 of these bad boys.
That's crazy.
Isn't it, though? And we've slowed down, too. We used to do them twice every 10 episodes. Now we just do about one every 10. Still adding
Yeah.
up. But if you're new to Language of Bromance and you're like, what the hell is this draft thing? Well, let me tell you, it's like NFL style where we have 7 rounds where we flip-flop picks back and forth. And back in the day, we flipped a pay to see who goes first. It was Richard it was me who won. So on odd drafts, I get the first pick. Even drafts, Richard gets the first pick. And basically each round, so Richard, first round, he gets the first pick. Second round, he gets the first pick. And we go all the way to round 7. And we rejoice at the end. And we throw our hands in the air and celebrate, but not too quickly because we might throw out our backs because we're a little bit older than the first time we did these. So,
God
Richard,
damn it.
I want to know your first pick for this anti-bucket list draft.
So here's the interesting thing is usually this is one of the few episodes, this is one of the few times that we like the type of episode that we actually like study and prepare for. And I was sitting and I was thinking about it, and I really honestly, like, I spent days, at least 2 days, probably like 3 or 4 days, trying to think of things, and I was coming up with nothing.
Did you go to Amanda? You're like, I've only got one thing on here, and it said open mouth kiss Shawn. You're like, I mean, really, Richard? You're like, you're right, I'll cross it off.
So I was trying to think of things that I will never do. Because it's kind of like a hard no list, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's things that, like, if you were presented with the opportunity, you'd still say like, nope, not doing it.
Things that I will never ever do. You know what? Actually, you're probably gonna find this surprising. Actually, I don't know about surprising. May not be the word, but I think you're gonna be like, really? Why? But one thing that I probably will never do and have no compulsion to do or anything is I love to travel, Shawn. Love it. I love going places more than anything. I have never and will never probably go on a cruise.
So I'm not a big, like, because this was actually one that I kind of pondered putting on my list. Like, cruises, there's a guy who I work with who's like, oh man, I absolutely love cruises. It's like, you know, you're on this big, like, super big hotel. You barely feel the waves. I'm like, I don't know. Like, it feels very claustrophobic. Like, I've seen Titanic, and that doesn't look cool. But
well, for me, it's not even like the claustrophobia. It's like you're on a boat, and cruises to me are designed to want to keep you on the boat, right? Like,
pretty much.
It's basically like it's a luxury resort kind of hotel on the water. Okay. So why couldn't I just stay in a luxury resort kind of place in an exotic location so that way I could, like, leave and go to the exotic location? Like, it seems silly to me. I mean, sure, the boat makes stops, but every subtle psychological game that cruise ship plays is with the intention of keeping you on that boat.
Yeah, I know.
And so at the end of the day, what are you doing? You're just hanging out. It's like going to a, you know, like London. I don't know. Let's say London, for example. It's like going to London and just staying in a hotel. It's a cool hotel. Like, it's got, you know, there's a restaurant there and a bar, and there's, you know, like stuff you can do. Or it's like going to a resort, but you don't leave the resort. Why would you want to just stay at the resort?
Yeah, or it's kind of like if you go to like a big like Universal park, like one of the parks, but you're stuck there all 7 days.
Yeah. That just does not sound appealing to me at all.
Yeah, like the Carnival cruises and stuff don't seem interesting. But they have been doing a lot more like themed cruises. Like Chris Jericho, he's got his own wrestling, like I think it's like Wrestling Rager he calls it. And it's like you get to meet like a bunch of the wrestlers, and they do like wrestling matches, and then they have like bands. There's like a Shiprock one where it's like, 3 days of just bands just playing, kind of smaller shows. Like that seems okay. But even then,
that seems okay, but at the same time, like you could do that on land.
Well, it's more intimate, I think, like the Shiprocked one. Like it's maybe 1,000 people, and there's 3 different places that play shows. But then after the show, the bands are kind of more accessible, like they're around more.
Yeah, because they can't leave; they're on a fucking boat.
We've thought about doing the Shiprocked one, but even then, it's kind of the same thing. Like I feel like that might be too. Like what happens after like day one? If you're like, wow, that was cool, but I really am not like in the mood for like a concert. Like you don't have any options besides like staying in your room trying to sleep while there's a ton of rock shows going on. But no, I'm in the same boat.
You don't want to be the guy on the rock cruise that's like, keep it down.
People are trying to sleep.
Some of us have to get up in the morning.
Breakfast starts at 7:30.
Yeah, I have no desire to go on a cruise and basically just stay on a boat for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
And you cruise by an island, and it's like, oh, look, that looks like a cool spot.
Yeah, if you're spontaneous, it doesn't seem like a cruise is the way to go. Because, it's like if you're, like when we went to Universal, like we pretty much were planning like every day we're going to one of the parks. But let's say for some reason we're like, you know what, we don't really want to go to a park one of these days. We had the option to do something different. But if you're on the cruise, it's like, we don't want to be on the cruise this day. It's like, too bad.
Yeah. Your choices are swim out as far as you can and then swim back.
Yeah, or just deal with it. No, I like that's a pretty good one. I like that one.
Yeah, I have no desire at all. I think even if someone was like, "Hey, you just won a free cruise for you and your family," I would more than likely look for the cash value and basically just sell it. Because I have no desire to go on a cruise.
Yeah, if I could sell it.
If I was presented with a free cruise, I would sell it.
If I could sell it, if like there was no way, like if it was a use it or lose it, I would go. But yeah, if it was like I could sell it to
I think if it was a use it or lose it, I don't even know if I would go then.
Yeah, I would definitely go then.
Like I said, I love to travel. Like it is one of my great pleasures in life is to travel.
I've heard some of like the Arctic ones are pretty cool because they kind of get you up to places you couldn't necessarily just go regular. But
my mom went on one and she absolutely loved it, but I'm just no.
That's a good pick though.
I'm good.
I think I agree with it. Well, for my first round pick, Richard, like this is something that people that have a huge fear like I do will do to try to get over that fear. But I like even thinking about that, being like, maybe that'll help me get over this fear. I'm still like, no, like I actually start freaking out when I think about like mini panic attack. The one thing, Richard, I will never do, my anti-bucket number one is diving with sharks, either in a cage or free dive. I will not do it.
So I guess, okay, so same thing. Like if it was presented to you like, hey, this costs you $0.
Nope, wouldn't do it.
Still not going to do it.
Nope. That's one like even like, let's say they're like, oh my God, we're going to, because the big ones are in South Africa because there's a lot of big great whites down there. If they're like, I mean, we'll give you this free trip, but you have to do this. I'm like, no, I won't do it.
What if all the sharks were guaranteed to be small?
So funny thing about that, I'd probably still say, well, like if they were like guppy sized, even then I'm not sure. Cause, at the St. Louis Zoo, there's a little baby hammerhead in one of those things. And that even made me a little queasy. But the one time where I was really like, I almost had like a full on panic attack, like in the area, there were this like walk around thing with these nurse sharks. And the whole time I'm like thinking I'm going to fall in walking around them. And I was not comfortable at all. And they even carried one around for you to pet. And I was very uncomfortable touching it. Okay. It's 100% irrational. I completely understand that. But like, the one time where I was kind of like, not like I was going to do it, but I was thinking like maybe if the opportunity was there, maybe that'd be a way I could go with his fears, like cage dive with sharks. And Leonardo DiCaprio tried that, and apparently the cage busted open with the great whites around it. And hearing about that, I was like, no, there's no reason to tempt that fate. I don't need to overcome that fear. I'm fine admitting I'm scared of sharks and will forever be scared.
I mean, I don't know, like obviously in movies and television, like it's always perceived like, cage goes in the water, man's in the cage goes in the water, shark's in the water.
Shark.
But I don't know, to me it kind of seems like flying where, like how many shark cages go in the water where absolutely nothing happens?
Oh, and even like the ones you hear about busting open, usually there's no like attacks or anything that happen from that.
And I would think that like in the event the door busts open, you're going to be like tugging on a rope, like pull me up, pull me up. Pull me up. Let's go. Pull me up.
I knew this would happen. I told you this would happen. No, like the odds, and even like
Tiffany's on the boat, and she's like, "I'm going to hear about this for the rest of my life."
I hope it. I just wish he would get bit. I mean, he's got a good insurance plan. I would have to hear this forever.
Maybe if you wouldn't put me in a cage in the water. That was 20 years ago.
I still have nightmares.
I could have died.
But yeah, my number one, I'm saying it right now, I would not go diving either in a cage or free dive with sharks.
Okay. Well, okay, so if we're going through the route of like extreme activities, one thing that I probably so this is something that if I was presented with the opportunity, I might try it. However, I don't think it's in the cards for me, and I don't think it's there for me. One thing that I probably will not do is I will probably not go rock climbing.
Would you do
like the big like where they're like hammering in the loops and putting rope in, and they're like like free climbing with their hands. Like I really don't. I don't have the strength to do that. I don't have the strength and conditioning to do that now. So the thought of it happening in the future, like makes the possibility of that even more remote.
Yeah. Do you have a fear of heights, would you say, or
no, I don't. It has nothing to do with that. It's honestly, if somebody was like, hey, we'll put you in a little elevator that'll take you to the top of this thing and then you can be on top, I go, okay. But if they hand me a rope and they're like, do you want to climb this thing and then you can be up top and really high, I'll be like, why don't you climb up there and then send an elevator for me?
Yeah, I'm not like, if I'm in tall buildings and stuff, I'm not like, that doesn't bother me, or like airplanes. But if I'm in a spot where like I could legit fall and get hurt, I get a little uneasy with that. And rock climbing's that.
I think that's everybody though.
Some people have like a fear of that where like they feel like they should jump. And I'm not quite that bad, but it does feel like something's wrong. Like when I'm in a zoo and you're up top, like pretty high, like I have this like where I kind of have to hold on to something because like I just have this fear that I'm going to jump off for some random reason.
I think that, but I'm saying, like, I can't obviously speak for everybody, but I feel like that's everybody. Like if I stay in a hotel with a balcony and the hotel's like, and the room's high up, I'll go out on the balcony and look down, and you get that like that feeling in like the entire lower part of your body.
Yep.
Where it's not really like, I mean, it's a combination of like weak, but also like
you're grounding yourself a little harder than you need to.
Like everything feels like weak and tingly, but at the same time, it feels like like your whole body kind of tenses up.
Yeah. I mean, that may be pretty common, but I think there's some people who don't have a second thought to that.
But even with that, and I get it. I get that feeling all the time. Like, honestly, even like if I sit here and think hard enough about being high up somewhere, I get that feeling a little bit.
Yeah, same thing. I would say I get more of the claustrophobia than I would that by like if I'm watching a show and like, you know, somebody jumps out of an airplane, like I don't get that. But if it's a show of somebody like slowly squeezing through a space that's super, super tight, that gets me a little bit more on the edge.
But yeah, I think saying all that, I don't feel like I have a fear of heights. Sometimes I get the same, like the feeling you just described, where you feel like, what if I just jumped? What if I just jumped off this right now?
Yeah.
And just fell.
So
what do they call that? It's kind of like the same feeling. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is a peek behind the curtain, or maybe, you know, maybe I'm showing off some psychological trauma here. But but I think this is a thing. It's called like Call of the Void or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
You ever have that feeling when you're driving across a bridge and you get that feeling like, if I just jerk the wheel hard to the left and just careen and just bust through a guard railing, like I'm going to fall, 80, 90, 100 feet and land in water in my car.
Yeah. No, yeah, like you jerk into like a ravine or jerk into like a hill. Yeah, you think it is like Call to the Void, because I've had that too.
I think that's everybody. So my larger point, I guess, is the feeling that you're describing. I think it's natural.
Yeah,
I think it's a natural thing that a lot of people have. Some people don't, obviously. But I think a lot, if not most people, have that feeling. It's just a question of, acknowledging whether that feeling is a legitimate fear of heights, or if it's just, that feeling of being up high.
Yeah, well, I get that. That's a good pick. Let's see. So for my second round pick, Richard, I think we've talked about this off air a few times. I've gone through it once. Well, no, actually, I guess technically what I'm saying here is I've gone through it twice, and I would definitely 100% not do it a third time. Richard, for my second round pick, my AntiBucket List will never get remarried.
Oh.
Yeah, so
I really don't know what to comment on this, because I've only been married the once.
Yeah, I know the first time after it was over, I was kind of like, man, never again. And like found Tiffany, we found each other. It was perfect. It was what you need in a relationship. And like
Sure.
The first time was more like, I'll never get married, because I felt like I was trapped. And I just felt like I wanted to jerk my wheel across the bridge every day.
Off the bridge, into the ravine.
But with Tiffany, it's more of like, I wouldn't want to get remarried, because like I don't think I could find anybody even like half as good as she is.
Okay, so that feeling I can relate with. I think, and I've told her that, I've told my wife this. I said I've said,
you're like, I could never find anybody half as good as Shawn's wife, and she's like, what?
in the event that something happens to her, that I think maybe she possibly asked me the question, like, would you get remarried? Like, and I'm like, and without missing a beat, I'm always like, no. Like the thought of trying to acclimate my life to a whole nother person, just sounds exhausting. And given the majority of women that I personally like, man, I don't think so.
Well, I think like when it
I'm not trying to say that all women suck. I'm just saying that there's a lot out there that are not my cup of tea.
Well, and like you and your wife, you have what, like 22, 23 years together.
All together, yeah, like 22, 23.
And like, you know, when I went through my first divorce, like I was 23, 24, so I was still fairly young. And but like at this point, I'm knocking on the door of 40, and there's nothing that would, like, I'm already kind of set in my ways at this point. And, you know, with Tiffany and everything, like
the lake with all your garbage in it is frozen over.
You know, she's fine with whatever quirks I have. Like, it works out. Like, just the thinking about bringing somebody in that like completely turns that upside down just does not sound appeasing at all. And then going through the effort of trying to like find somebody.
I don't think that I would do well trying to, and not even in like, I would not do well trying to cater to someone else. And I don't mean that in a sense of, you know, I'm not changing for nobody. Like, that's not it. It's not that. But to a degree, it is that, because especially if you're looking for somebody, you know, you are going to maybe do things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you'll give them a shot. And I don't know if I just have that in me. And it's not that I don't want to try new things. It's just that, I mean, it's like you said, kind of a set in your ways thing.
Yeah. Well, when you're younger,
I feel that way now, and my wife like pulls me in the opposite direction, and I appreciate it. But if somebody else tried to do it, I would not appreciate it.
Well, yeah, she's kind of built that repertoire with you. She's kind of got that, like,
exactly,
you know, that currency she can kind of spend on that kind of stuff. But
exactly,
you know, like if you get with a new person and like maybe you've always put the knives upright in the dishwasher, and she's like, "Oh, no, knives go down." You're like, "So I've been fucking doing it for 40 years. Who are you to tell me what to do?"
Put the knives however mouth, put them in your goddamn heart. How about that?
Yeah. That's why I say, Richard, like, if something ever happened to both our wives, like, we need to just move in with each other, because then we don't have to worry about that risk. Because what happens if you're by yourself? Like, you'll find somebody and they'll like know you're a podcaster, and they'll be like, "Oh my god!"
The thing is that we don't live together, so then we would start living together, and then you would put the knives up.
Oh, that's
in the
true.
Dishwasher.
That's a good point. You're like, I'd be like, "Richard, no, you got to put the knives down." It's like, motherfucker. I've done this for 40
years.
Exactly
what I was trying to avoid.
Like, you never ask about my feelings.
Jesus.
But my second round pick, never get remarried.
Now, don't get me wrong. I would enjoy, like, I enjoy company.
I don't even know if I would
you
date.
Still date?
No, I don't think so. I just don't think I would. Like, I don't think I'd want to emotionally get involved again.
I'm not talking about emotionally involved.
Well, when you date, I mean, you're talking about just like,
yes.
Oh yeah,
that's
totally.
Where I'm going.
I wouldn't bang many chicks. I'd be like out at the bar, be the old creepy guy. I live in a college town.
Oh my god, have you? When was the last time you went to a bar?
Oh shoot! I mean, like, we went when I was like 28, so that'd been like 8 years ago. And
that was the last time you went to a bar?
Yeah, I think so. Like an actual like nightclub type thing. And like when I was in there, because I was hyped for like a fun like party night, and I got there and I felt ancient.
Right.
At that point, I was like, no. I mean, we went to a couple clubs at like or a couple bars and stuff like for the ComiCon and things like that, but those aren't really like nightclub type things.
Yes. So I get you.
Yeah, like nightclubs, no, because it's like you walk through the door and you know every girl there's like, "Here comes Grandpa."
Oh my god, it's bad.
Hey girls, you guys want to dance to some Nelly? It's getting hot in here.
I'm trying. So the last time I was like out was probably like a month ago. It was about a month ago. I had some friends went out, and I was like, "Oh, I'll meet up with you. I'll meet up with you guys, sure." And you're absolutely right. Like, I felt ancient. And I was there, like, hanging out with people that were, you know, my age or close to my age, close enough. But once, like, anytime I exited that bubble of people, I was just, not only did I feel old, but I also felt annoyed.
Like, this music seems a little too loud. Is this music too loud?
It's not even, no, it wasn't even the loudness of the music, although that kind of was a factor. But it was between that and just like trying to have a conversation with a person that's like under like 25.
So how much Bitcoin do you own? You got a lot of Bitcoin?
Just fucking,
So you got any Bitcoin? You Dogecoin, man? I got a test tomorrow. I'm just gonna wing it.
And so I think that in the event, I would try to talk to anybody, and I think, okay, like this is gonna sound bad. I think that I find way too many people not that bright, and because of that, I would more often than not just become annoyed and angry.
So you test all the youngsters. You're like, what's 5 times 9? And they're like, let me pull out my iPhone. You're like,
well, I don't need
this
to give them
generation
an SAT test, but at the very least, like, can you hold a conversation and use, you know, larger words with.
Hell, man, you want to do it?
Some people like talk and you know that they're smart, and some people talk and you know that they're not.
Yeah, you sound like a really old man right now.
Talk and I know that they're smart.
Hey, Gramps, you want to give my ticket talk?
Moving on.
Number 3, have a conversation at a bar.
Never again. Number 3. Something that I will never ever do. This is it. See, you know what? Honestly, you know why this seems so hard is because I feel like there's so many things that if presented with the opportunity, I would do them.
Yeah, true.
And all I can think about are the things that if somebody was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" I'd be like, "Yeah." I don't think I'm gonna go. I don't think I'm gonna visit anywhere cold.
Okay.
On like a trip.
So you wouldn't go to like Antarctica,
no Alaska for me.
Alaska's pretty nice though. It's not, if you go in the summertime, it's not that cold.
Well, I mean, so if I go to Alaska, I'll go in the summer.
Oh, but you wouldn't go during. Yeah, it makes sense.
No, yeah, nowhere cold for me.
No, like
I'm not going to intentionally go somewhere cold.
No, or like Denver skiing kind of stuff. Not going to a ski lodge and.
Yeah, no, that's not for me.
See, I'm opposite. Like I can do like tropical places like Florida, you know, Cancun obviously, but like I do enjoy like the cold weather, like hanging out next to a fire, being bundled up.
Yeah, but see, okay, in the event, what are you doing? You are sitting in someplace warm. You're just surrounding yourself with cold.
Well, you could be outside in the cold. I deer hunt too when it's cold out, and I enjoy that. There's something like freeing about being in the cold. I don't know what it is. I enjoy it.
It's because you're feeling your body slowly shutting down.
Probably. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
It's like it's natural.
It's every extremity in your body being like, okay, well, I guess if you want to commit slow suicide, I guess this is it.
It's a more intense call of the void. So I'm just going to go outside. Shawn, you're not wearing a coat or pants and it's 0 degrees out. Sorry, can't hear you.
You know what you're doing? You're edging death. That's what you're doing.
Well, there's a thing now where like athletes and stuff, they go into like these sub-zero like freezers for like 10 minutes. It's supposed to be some kind of like good for your body and bones and all kinds of weirdness.
I've seen that, like the cryotherapy stuff where they get in the tanks. I mean, isn't that just this? It's the exact same thing as the crazy motherfuckers that like jump into cut a hole out in a ice lake and jump in it.
Yeah, I did that in Alaska. The water wasn't freezing, but it was probably like 38 degrees, and I jumped in swim trunks.
That. Fuck that.
After the initial like falling in, it did feel pretty refreshing. But I don't know if that was so much the cold or the water, because like the water up there is like pure, right? It's, off the mountains. It's not like there's like...
It's your body sending, like flooding your brain with signals like you need to get somewhere warm or you're going to die. That's what it is. That's
it could be saying like
thing is.
It could be saying don't get out of the water, because if you get out of the water, then you'll die quicker.
That sounds terrible.
We should
sounds absolutely horrible.
We should do a polar plunge this year, you and I.
No, we shouldn't. How about you do a polar plunge and I will watch with a blanket
in my car with the heat running?
Yeah.
You're doing great,
Good
buddy.
Job, Shawn.
Knocking on the window. Let me in. It's cold. It's like, that was your choice.
Yeah. Does it feel refreshing?
All right. My third round pick. So like yours, I'm like, I would do that. I think my third round pick, I think that's kind of the same thing. Like I think you would be down for it, but it's something I don't want to do. And Richard, it is move to a big city.
Oh, I'd be all about it.
If you would have asked me like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, it's like, would you live in a big city? I'd be like, yeah, probably. But since we moved out here, like more like remote in the country, I have no like excitement to be in a city.
It depends. Okay, so what are we classifying as a city?
I'm saying like your big ones like Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas City, LA, San Diego, like living in Chicago, the city.
Like out of that entire list, Chicago sounds like the only city on that list.
I mean, Kansas City's pretty big. LA obviously is bigger than Chicago. San Diego.
LA doesn't seem like a city to me.
I've never been, but I would assume it would give me that like city feel. I'm sure there's like, you could probably get to the outskirts and it'd probably be fine, but I don't know.
Los Angeles is to me, Los Angeles, it feels like a bunch of large towns that are in the same space.
No, I get that.
Because if you go to Los Angeles, you're not in Los Angeles. You're in West Hollywood. You're in Compton. You're in, fucking Anaheim. You're in you're in Pasadena. You're in.
And I could probably even update this. Like, I don't even know if I'd want to live in a city, like even the small ones. Like, legitimately, like living in a place where I can walk out my back door and take a leak and not have to worry about somebody calling the police on me is a pretty, like, just refreshing feeling. Like, to know I can go outside and wander and there's nobody around. And like,
I did that when I did that occasionally when I lived in Bay Park.
Peed off the deck. Yeah.
It was nice.
It is nice.
It was a big fence. So I guess nobody saw me. Well, I guess people probably could see me.
Yeah, and I guess it comes to like the Pecos Bill type thing too. Like I mean, if my neighbors are yelling really loud, I can hear them. But for the most part, like it's kind of like I just like the isolation now. Like going outside, hearing all the bugs, looking up and seeing stars. It just I don't know what the best way to, because like I grew up in the country per se, like. There's people close by, but like you walk in the backyard and you look up and like you see stars. There's not much light. There's not much sound. In the distance you can hear a train or you can hear some race cars because there's a racetrack close to my mom and dad's house. But I don't know. It's just something like since moving out here, I feel like I've rekindled that like rural, isolation, not being, one of 50 houses in a little subdivision feel.
Yeah, honestly, when it comes to living in a larger place, the thing that I would enjoy would just be just the ease of access to things.
So maybe that's one of the reasons I like this place too, is because, and it depends on what you're considering ease of access, but we're like 5 minutes from the town here that's got a grocery store, couple of restaurants, like nothing fancy. You know, I've got like O'Reilly's, like farm supply. Like there's stuff like if like I need something, I can get it within 10 minutes. But like there's not going to be any like big concerts. There's not going to be sporting events.
That's kind of the stuff I'm talking about, like concerts, sporting events, like things to do.
I'll let you know a little secret though. I'm kind of getting burnt out on that stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, like we did a concert not too long ago, and I really, really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun. It was going to be back-to-back nights of concerts, and they rescheduled it, which I'm excited still, but it's just the effort to get there and spending the money on it. It's kind of one of those things. It is. It really is. I don't know if I'll get rejuvenated once the kiddo gets a little older, but like at this point in time, it's just like, man, like that's 4 hours round trip drive.
I think you will. You just need to hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to hold on to the want. Otherwise, you're gonna, otherwise the years are gonna go by, and then once you get to the point where you can, then you're not gonna want.
Yeah, that's true.
So you gotta hold on to the want. If you don't, because otherwise you're gonna lose it.
Yeah. I will say, though, probably the want won't be to move to a city. I'm not going to be moving to the city. Not me. That is my third pick.
Yeah, out of all that, Chicago sounds like the only... To me, New York and Chicago are cities.
Yeah.
And then everything else feels like I said, like Los Angeles. Los Angeles is probably the most extreme example, but... Because when you're there, it's like, oh, you're not in Los Angeles. You're in, fucking, God damn it. I can't, I'm trying to think of like the Valley or West Hollywood or like you're never in, like even when you're in Los Angeles, you're not in Los Angeles.
I gotcha. They're all like little cities that kind of make up Los Angeles.
Yeah. San Francisco's the same way. There's San Francisco, there's Alameda, there's fucking... San Diego's the same way. There's Bay Park. There's Mission Hills.
St. Louis is like that. There's a bunch of little towns all around St. Louis.
Yeah. St. Louis is like that. There's St. Louis. There's Cape Girardeau. There's O'Fallon. There's, it just feels like a bunch of like towns connected by roads. Oh, man. Okay. Something that I will never, ever do. I will probably never go sailing.
Ooh.
I mean, that kind of builds on the cruise thing.
But like, if
I have no desire to get on a boat and go out to sea.
Yeah, I know a couple people who like took they're pretty big sailboats, but still not, like the size of maybe a trailer, I would say. And they sailed it from like Florida to some island, like a 4 or 5 day like sailing type adventure. And I'm the same way. Like, yeah, it's just like that creeps me out. And they said they had situations where they had some pretty rough winds and pretty rough storms. And he's like, yeah, I was puckered a few times. I'm like, how's that even like remotely fun? Like, I drive in the rain and I freak out.
Yeah, I guess it's list. I would probably put on the list of. It's not that I think it's bad. It's not that I find it undesirable. Like the thought of it just sounds complete. It's like so neutral to me that it just doesn't seem like anything I would even try to reach for because I have no desire.
Yeah, even if that was like offered to me, like somebody's like, hey, we got an extra spot. Like we got like super skilled people. Like you won't have to do anything but hang out. You want to go? I'm like, no. Like you're in the middle of the ocean. Like I would do it on like a lake, but not like ocean sailing. Would 100% not do it.
I mean, okay, if I was standing at the beach and somebody was like, "Hey, if you swim onto this boat, then and then we're going to sail to this place. It's going to take a couple hours, and then we can hang out and have a good time. And then we'll sail back. It'll take like a couple hours. I'd be like, all right, cool. But if somebody was like, hey, get on this boat and we're going to go to the Florida Keys and it's going to take 5 days, I'd be like, no.
Don't worry. We've got like stuff that'll process water. Wait, there's not enough water on the boat? No, we have to process it.
What am I, Kevin Costner?
What if it breaks? Well, we probably die. That's the adventure. No, the adventure is me staying home.
Fuck all that. The thought of being on a boat more than like a few hours just does not sound like something I would want to do.
Yeah, I'm not a big boat guy in general.
Okay, so just to show that I'm not anti-boat, there is I was watching this episode of Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain, and he did this thing where he was in Vietnam, and he did this thing where basically like he rented out an entire kind of like, it looked like one of those old school like river boats that you see in like a fucking Huck Finn novel.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He had the whole boat to himself. It was him and like 4 other people, and and those people were like, the crew and the chef and stuff like that. And he basically like had the whole boat to himself, and it just like sailed around in the Mekong Delta. And so he just like he'd wake up in the morning and fucking sit there and like drink coffee and then like go swimming and fucking read a book or whatever. Like that sounds kind of cool and relaxing. That sounds fun.
Yeah. I'm still a no.
I guess I'm saying like I'd be into that, but the thought of like me actually having to do things on a boat, no.
It's like tie a hook and fish ladder knot. You're like, a what?
Yeah.
No, do it now or we're going to die. Well, I guess we're dead.
Be like, look, I'm into kinky stuff, but I don't know how to do I don't know how to do this knot.
My knots all come pre-knotted. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
AdamandEve.com hooks me up.
Adam and Eve like that.
All right. So for my 4th round pick, Richard, this might be a little pretentious and it might be a little like hoity-toity. But at this point in my life, I've done this before. And I think I'm kind of over it, but I will not stay in a really, really bad, cheap hotel.
Really?
I've done it more than a few times. And if it came down to like, that's it, maybe. But even at this point in life, like with all the stuff you have at your fingertips. And when I say like cheap hotel, I'm talking like you step in, like the sheets are stained, the carpet's stained, it still has a tube TV. Like you don't even want to like lay down. You just go in there to sit, and you'd rather sleep in your car. I've stayed in a few places like that, and I've
stayed in a few places like that.
Yeah, they're okay. But at this point in my life, if I can avoid it and I'm going to do my darndest, I do not want to stay in one of those type of hotels.
So honestly, when it comes to hotels for me, I usually go on the cheap side. And the reason I do that is because 90% of the time, if I'm going somewhere, the entire reason the hotel is there is so I have a place to change my clothes and take a shower and sleep. That's all that I use that. That's all that I use that for. I don't hang out at the hotel. It's like going back to the cruise thing. Like the entire reason I go somewhere is to be somewhere and like do shit. I don't have a plan for what I'm doing when I leave the hotel, but I'm not staying in the fucking hotel.
Yeah. But in most places, it's like I would rather spend $40 and get like a chain hotel that looks better than the one that the light doesn't quite work in the front, and like it's like an old school key, and you use it and you open it up and you're like, I don't think room service has been here a while, and like when you take a shower, like it feels like you're dirtier than when you started. Those are the kind of places I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, if you're asking like, if you're giving me the choice between like a Super 8 or a Super 4,
an Uncle Ted's sleeping stay. Yeah, Uncle Ted's Sleep and Stay.
I'm gonna go for the Super 8.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
there was one place I stayed at in Denver, it wasn't Denver, but it was in Colorado. Woof. I slept on the bed, covers. I slept on the covers, fully clothed.
Yeah, there was so Tiffany and her mom and aunt got stuck like between here and where we live. Like it was only like 2 hours away, but there was a snowstorm, and so they got a hotel and they stayed in there. And one of them, they did the same thing, clothes on top of the covers. But in the middle of the night, one of them flipped on the lights, and there was like 24 cockroaches crawling around on the floor.
That's fun.
Yeah, so that's the kind of place I'm talking about. One time when Tiff and I like first got together, so I'd have been like 24, we stayed at it was a pretty shady hotel. Like it wasn't terrible, but like it was a two bed room, and like we took the covers off the one bed and it looked like stained and kind of gross, and the other one was a little bit better. But yeah, and I'm not saying like I'm staying in a 5-star like $500 a night place, but it's like you said, if I got Super 8 or I've got Uncle Ted's, Sleep and Stay, I'm going for the Super 8.
Yeah, I don't think that's bougie. I think that you can kind of like suss that out when you're shopping,
Oh, for sure. And a lot of times those places, like if you look around, you can kind of be like, wait, this is where people bring hookers for an hour.
Right. And then you're like, where are the hookers? Let's see. Okay. So something that I will probably, I have done, but probably will never do again. I will probably never go to Disney World again. Now, the caveat there is unless we're talking about Galaxy's Edge, because Galaxy's Edge, Shawn, is on my bucket list.
Well, I was going to say, isn't that part of Disney? Like,
it is. I don't know if it's, but I guess I'm talking about like Disney World, like the castle and the teacups and the
Have you
Pirates
been?
of the Caribbean, and yeah.
Okay.
I've been to Disney World. I've been to Epcot. I've been,
I could see it. I could see that being like once you go once, there's not really like you could go for like the new stuff, but like redoing all the old stuff, like I don't really see a point.
I'll go for Galaxy's Edge, and that's it. If I could just go to Galaxy's Edge, then that's all I need. All I need to do is go there. I could go there and then I can leave.
Yeah, it's always interesting, like the people that live there that have like the yearly passes, like how much they love those places to do that. Like we did Universal, and I'm sure like there's more stuff we could have done. But the only reason I kind of want to go back in like 4 or 5 years is just because like Jacoby will be at another age where it'll be a different experience for him.
He'll be like, "Where are the girls at?"
Yeah, I know, right? He's like, "Where's Hermione? I want to show her my wand." I'm like, "Jacoby,
you didn't bring your wand." Oh, wait a minute.
You sound like your mother. God rest her soul.
Now, me and Denise are going to have a good time. And then we're going to leave her here.
Dad, don't you remember when you said you weren't ever going to get married again? Shut up.
No, I love him and leave him, boy.
I'm trying to cast a spell with my wand, if you know what I mean.
He's becoming a new resident of Orlando, if you know what I mean.
All right, for my 5th round pick, Richard, this is something that, when I was younger, like it was sports, like, you just like really dig in on your team, you dig in on your stats. And as it gets older, maybe you dig in on kind of like your own like personal feelings about things. And not necessarily I've ever lost a friend over something like this, but it's something I'm working very hard to not make sure I have happen ever. But on my anti-bucket list, Richard, I do not want to lose a friend over a disagreement.
Ooh. So, like, what?
I guess I say that, and you're gonna be like, well, what happens if they say that they're, like, in the Nazi party and you disagree with it, you're like, well, I mean, obviously, that's not a disagreement.
Nazis are bad, so there's that. So okay, so are you saying that, like, in the event you have a disagreement, whether regardless of how right or wrong you are, you're saying that you're going to put that aside and you're going to put that aside for the sake of the friendship?
For sure. And
swallow whatever feelings you have.
And I think it depends. I mean, I say there's disagreements. There's probably some things that, like, more, like you might say, are morally different. That maybe is different. Of course.
I mean, I think everybody has hard limits.
Yeah. But I mean, if it's like, I'm trying to think of something
like Nazis, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be a Nazi.
Yeah. You know, like if somebody's like, I'm a Ford guy, and I'm like, well, I'm a Dodge guy. Dodges suck. I'm like, okay. And even like a lot of things, I try not to dig in too hard anymore. Because there was a time at one game day, I dug in on something a little bit harder than I needed to. And like the next day, I'm like, why did I do that? Like there was absolutely no reason to dig my heels in for that specific thing. Because in the scheme of it, it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. It's because, yeah. It's because you love rich people and I hate them.
Exactly, yeah. And like in that conversation, like legitimately, like I think we both got like a little tense. Like it wasn't like we didn't go to arms. Like I'm not gonna punch somebody for Elon Musk. Like that's not what's gonna happen. And I'd assume you wouldn't punch me for like being like okay with Elon Musk.
Oh, I'm used to it. Like I guess like I see your point. I guess I kind of adopted that attitude myself a while ago, but that was more out of necessity. Shawn, if I sacrificed a friendship because we had a disagreement over, for example, politics, because I lean very differently than probably 80% of the people around me, I'd have no friends.
Yeah. Well, and what I like about like last night we had a pretty good conversation and I feel like we didn't like slam our computers shut and go our separate ways. And because I always try to get a different perspective because I think that's how you learn and grow. And
sure.
And I think it was after that time where we had that conversation, I listened to somebody talk about like, because I was a little bit like unnerved with not unnerved, but like I was like a little disappointed in myself that I got that worked up. And like I didn't get like super woke up again. Like I didn't like throw stuff across the room and storm out, but you just get that like heart pumping and you get a little like tingly feeling and you get that little sweat bead.
Well, just the feeling. Well, I think it's because you're not, I don't want to say drawing a line in the sand, but you're taking a stance on something and you're not exactly sure how it's going to fall, but you're not in that moment. You're not really caring how it's going to fall, how it's going to land.
And I watched a video that kind of talked about that, where it's like when you get in that moment, like people will tense up and it's almost like the fight or flight kicks in.
Yeah, kind of.
And when you're just having like a general discussion on things, like that shouldn't be what kicks in. Like fight or flight shouldn't kick in on just a normal discussion. And so just trying to like identify that. But even then, like let's say you and I are talking about rich people and you get like really, really worked up, like, or if I get really, really worked up, I'm going to do my best to not make that like alter any friendship. And it's kind of a step back because I'm trying my best not to get worked up over that stuff anymore, because in the scheme of it, one, it doesn't help anything. And two, it's going to stop me from being able to learn the other perspective that's out there.
Sure.
Because that's what I always like to see.
Like I said, like my thing is, you know, especially when it comes to like politics, I've learned that the thought of trying to convert, you know, change hearts and minds, like that's great, but it's probably not going to happen. Number one, because at the end of the day, like, and it's not that, you know, I'm not giving a convincing argument. It honestly has nothing to do with me. That person's not going to change their mind and flip their entire philosophy based on like one thing that I said.
Yeah. Well, so much of that stuff's not black and white. So it's not like you can't be like, oh, see here, I shined this flashlight on this thing. It's like, oh my God, I've been wrong all this time. Like there may be pieces that are
maybe I shouldn't be a Nazi.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, that's not it at all. I mean, there could be like tidbits like, okay, well, I'm thinking about this a little bit different. Okay. I mean, I still believe what I'm thinking, but I see some different aspects to it. Right. And I know like when you get, because like our game day can be rough like that. Like everybody's pretty much set in their ways. And I feel like, you know, if you try to go down there to have not you specifically, just in general, you try to have a discussion about something that 90% of the group doesn't believe in, it's just like it's a losing cause.
Yeah.
Not really a losing cause.
It's not going to go your way.
Yeah. And even with that, like nobody has hard feelings for anything. But yeah, it's just like you said, it's just.
Yeah. I mean, well, and also a lot of it has to do with if you have a certain mindset, a certain way of thinking, and somebody comes along and like kind of turns it on its head a little bit, it doesn't have anything to do with like, oh my God, I've been wrong this whole time. It's not that, but you don't want to feel nobody wants to feel stupid.
Yeah.
And when somebody presents you with something that might change your outlook, like you're talking about like an emotional response. I think that comes from like that fear of, I think it comes from a fear of feeling stupid. Nobody wants to feel stupid. Nobody wants to feel like they've been duped or bamboozled.
Mm-hmm.
And so when somebody says something and then you're going like, well, shit, have I been lied to this whole time and I'm just being fucking, and I done got hornswoggled? And then you feel like you feel kind of dumb, and nobody wants to feel that way. And so then you initially and so then you get this, and so then you respond emotionally to it. And then the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, but you're a big stupid head. It's like, no, I'm just saying metal dice are better than plastic dice. Yeah, whatever, stupid head.
I think your mom's dice are good when they're on my dresser. Get out.
Got him.
I mean, shit like that.
But, and even just in all that kind of stuff is like, at this point in time, too, is getting older, like, friendship is more important to me than, like, not having the complete same belief. So, my 5th round pick is not lose a friend over a disagreement.
That's a really good one. I really, really like that one. Something that I hope doesn't happen before I die. I really hope that, man, this is hard. And I've still got one more after this. I really hope that I guess maybe this has been me the whole time, but I hope that I don't, right now, for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm in a somewhat comfortable place financially. And so I guess if there's one thing that I hope doesn't happen is that goes away. And I don't know. I feel like that's probably really general.
Like don't fall on super hard times.
Yeah. Everybody's like one, you always hear that like, everybody's one paycheck away. I would like to think that at this point I'm a bit more than one paycheck away from complete disaster, but man, like you feel like I feel like I've like people, and I'll include everybody in this. It feels like you spend so much of your early adult life like struggling to get to a point of not even financial security, but financial stability. And so the thought of that like falling away sounds fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things that seems like there hasn't been. I'm trying to think of like we've been pretty comfortable like as a nation for a little while. Like 08 was kind of a little bit of a drop, but there hasn't been.
08, I would say 08 got bad but not detrimental. And I think that the ship righted itself before things got insane.
Yeah, it was about like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
But no, I get that. Like it feels
not even like you could see things trending upward, and so then you were like, okay, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like even if you weren't in a good place, you saw things were getting to a good place, and so you were like, okay, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I know. Like in terms of like financial like time frames of life, like your early like 0 to 10, you're kind of dependent on your family. Like 10 to 20, like it's somewhat on your family. You have a little bit of independence, but then like your 20s, like you're out on your own. Like you're kind of like trying to figure it all out. 30s, you might start kind of getting a little bit of stability. And I think I've heard a lot of people always say like the 40s are the best years of their life because they're kind of at that point where they've, got a little bit of that.
Like I'm 40 now, and like, I mean, that's fine, but
well, you got 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, but no, I think about that too. Like, what would happen in an instant where you lose your job or something?
You've been in. When you're in like this like damage control mode for like so long, everything just feels frayed. Like you're like the wires in your brain just feel like shredded and frayed, and so once things finally start to kind of like coalesce into a thing, then you're like, oh, okay, this is nice. And the thought of like any of that backtracking, no, none of that.
Well, and like you think about like,
it's probably a bit more existential than what you were wanting for a bucket list, but it was a thought that popped into my head.
No, I think that's legit. Cause I mean, like you get to a point like in your life financially where you kind of feel comfortable. At any point in time going back, no matter what amount of money you're making, is a scary thought. Because
yes,
it's like getting remarried, right? It's a whole lifestyle potential change.
Right. And I mean, like, and then you sit there and you go and you say to yourself, like, well, I mean, like, I could figure it out. Like, I'll figure it out and I'll get by. But just the thought of like having to deal with those problems yet again, you're just like, oh.
Yeah, as you get older, it's like, I just don't want to put that effort in and get to figure out how I'm going to make,
I'm over it.
Yeah. No, I get that.
I'm over sending the gas bill to the water company and the water bill to the gas company and being like, oh, sorry, I'll send the right one. Don't shut it off. Not that ever happened on purpose, but it was totally accidental.
Don't shut off my gas or water.
It happened accidentally a few times.
Well, Richard, you have an emotional, kind of heartfelt 6th round existential.
Give me something good. Give me something silly.
Oh, this is kind of silly. It's a little bit bougie. I got 2 bougie things on here. Actually, I got a 3rd one for my 7th round pick.
I like it.
But my 6th round money pick, I was a person that thought like headphones didn't matter. I would buy the $8 Sony Walmart kiosks headphones and be like, these are fine. And then one day, Richard,
I did that as well.
Yeah,
I constantly for the last for most of my life, it was $6 earbuds out of the bin at Walmart.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, how good could Bose headphones be? How good could Apple AirPods be? Richard, I'm going to tell you this. Apple AirPods and Bose headphones, far superior than those Walmart, Sony, $9 headphones.
I got these earbuds for a can't remember if it was a birthday present or a Father's Day present. But I got these like a year ago, and these are all I use. I take them to work with me. I use them at work. I come home. I use them at home. And the thing is I'm not even big on earbuds. Like, I'm not a big fan of earbuds. I prefer headphones.
Oh, yeah.
But these actually feel comfortable.
Yeah. But so
and the audio quality is good, but yes. You know what? I completely agree with you. Just being able to I think it happens as you get older. You figure out exactly what you're willing to be cheap on and what you're willing to not be cheap on, and that's kind of nice.
Yeah, and that's what my sixth run is. I will not buy cheap headphones. The caveat to that, like if I forget my headphones and I don't need like new ones right away and I'm at like an airport, I'll probably buy cheap ones in to get me through a trip or through a flight or through a drive. But if we're talking
you're buying
like,
them at the airport, they're not going to be cheap.
That's true. They sometimes you can find some. I think you can find some like $15-$20 ones. But if
but then you realize that they were the $6 ones at Walmart.
Yeah. But if I'm kind of getting like everyday, multiple times a day headphones, I'm gonna spend a little bit of money.
Number 7. Okay, I feel like maybe I should go in that vein. What is something that I am not willing to compromise on when it comes to spending money? Okay. So you said a bougie thing. I'll give you my last thing as a bougie thing. And I've done this for years and I still stand by it. And I hopefully will continue to do this in the future. I will not eat at a chain restaurant.
That was essentially my 7th round too.
Really?
Yep. Mine was not a night out at I said, quote, bad restaurant.
Yeah, I refuse to do. Well, good. Then we'll just mesh this together. I am done with chain restaurants. No Applebee's, no TGI Fridays, no Chili's, none of it.
Yeah, I almost treat
not
those.
Worth it.
I treat those more as like fast food. So like if I'm driving through something, like I need a quick bite or I'm stuck somewhere where that's like the only option, I'll do that. But if I'm driving, if I'm like on a trip and I'm driving and I see and I'm really fucking hungry and it's like, oh, next exit, there's a Denny's. I'm like, all right. But that's an in and out type thing. Like if Tiff and I are like, we're going to go out tonight. We're not going to be like, let's go to Ruby Tuesdays.
Yeah, nope. That's that. I can't even remember the last time. God, I honestly can't think of the last time that I took the entire family to like a chain restaurant.
Well, the thing is you don't save a ton of money. Like it's probably like $30 or $40. Like there is some money you save doing that, but the quality.
I don't feel like you save any at all. It feels like it's the same price.
It's pretty close. Maybe it's more like $15-$20. But yeah, I want to find like a local restaurant that's making their own stuff.
There was a picture I saw, and it was a picture of the Fridays logo, and it said TGI Fridays when you're too lazy to put it in the microwave yourself.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is.
No more. I'm over it. None of that.
No, I like that. Yeah, it's my same boat. Like, yeah, I want to go, and not even just like.
I will go to the mom and pop place and risk the bad experience over because the difference is when I go to the mom and pop place, I don't know what's going to happen, and when I go to Ruby Tuesdays or Fridays, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's blah.
Like, people are like, oh, well, when you go there, you know what to expect. I'm like, yeah, but when you go there, you know what to expect.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was my 7th round too, because. Yeah, if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to go somewhere. I think it's a lot, too, like, I don't do it as much anymore. Because, like, when you're a kid, like, you go out almost every Friday. So, like, you could only almost afford, like, the Ruby Tuesdays or Applebee's and stuff like that.
Sure.
But, like, as
fucking
you get
dollar margaritas, you're like, yeah, okay, I've got $5.
Yeah, but as you get older, maybe you have a little bit more scratch, or maybe you're just okay waiting a little bit longer for your food. Go to those good places.
I feel like the waiting a bit longer, I feel like that has definitely been coming into play in the last like 18 months. Like, have you gone to a restaurant recently? Have you gone to a restaurant like within the last, say, like 6 to 12 months and watched somebody completely lose their fucking mind because things are taking a bit longer than they should?
I haven't. I haven't noticed
because there's short staff or whatever, or somebody gets pissed because there's shit that isn't on the menu because of supply chain issues or whatever. It's crazy.
Around here, I think everybody's pretty like understanding of that.
Like, you pull into a drive-through and you watch like the cars around you, and somebody like gets super fucking heated.
Have you really seen that? Or just videos?
Yeah.
Wow.
I see it like way more often than I feel like I should.
So I'm like,
where, how do you people not get like what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. I've always been kind of in like that industry before, so I kind of understand it. But like, this past week we went to lunch, and the place we go to already takes a long time, so we already knew that. But our food got there pretty quick. We finished eating, and like I was sitting there for like 15 minutes, about 20 minutes, and they didn't bring the check. And so like it was a company meal type thing. So I said, "Oh, you guys all go. I'll take care of it, and I'll meet you back at the office," kind of thing. And like 10 minutes, so it's like 25, 30 minutes waiting for the ticket. And the lady comes back over and like looks at me like, "What the fuck are you still doing here?" And I hold up my card and I'm like, "Hey, can I get the ticket?" And she's like, "Oh, shoot, I forgot. I'm so sorry." She's like, "Thank you for not leaving. I would have had to pay for it." So like apparently like that's a thing where people are just like, "Oh, took too long. I'm leaving."
Yeah.
Like I would never think of that.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I've seen people do it. I've seen people lose their go crazy because they're in the drive-thru for 10 minutes instead of their usual 7 minutes. I'm like, calm down.
I will say if I'm in a drive-thru and if I'm sitting and not moving for like 15 minutes, I'll usually leave. Like I won't wait.
Sure.
Like if I haven't gotten my order, because I feel like there's something to the drive-thru. Like if it's not moving at a decent pace, and like I'm sitting still for like 15 minutes, it's like I might as well just pick something up and cook it myself at that point. So I understand that, but I'm not like rolling my window, yelling out at the drive-thru window.
For me, I think it depends. Like if I pull into a drive-thru and it's like 12, it's like 12:15, and it's and there's a long line and it's taken forever. I'm like, okay, I get it. It's lunchtime. Like there's it's taking a minute. It's cool.
But if you're like 4 cars deep and it's like 7:30 at night and they don't close till 10, that's what I'm kind of like, something's up here. My 7th round.
There it is.
Never pay for a meal again. No, I'll go with bad restaurant. Did you have any buts?
No, because like I told you, Shawn, I pulled that entire list out of the old noggin.
That was pretty good. Well, I got 2.
I was doing it live. Did it live.
So one is skip a family vacation for other non-essential purchases.
Oh, yeah. No, don't do that.
Yeah,
that's
so it's
bad.
like, oh, sorry, we can't go on a trip.
Go for the vacation.
Need a new PlayStation. And then my last one, I've never done this that I'm aware of, but get in a Facebook or social media fight.
Ooh, I think that I've had discussions with people that have tried to start a social media fight, but I usually just cut it off by saying like, okay.
What do you mean, okay?
I usually kind of cut it off before it evolves into a fight. I usually just say my piece and then that's it, and then I just leave it alone. Actually, the last time I remember doing that, the other person I think had it seemed like the other person was having a complete meltdown because then it was like comment.
And you're just like, okay, after every one of them.
Well, no, I didn't even say okay. I didn't respond at all because
that's what cuts him even deeper.
Yeah.
Like, all right, he's going to respond after this one. Well, this one will get him.
It's going to get him, but it didn't get him.
All right. So let me go back over our list. So for Richard's first pick, go on a cruise. Second pick, rock climbing. Third pick, visit anywhere cold. Fourth pick, sailing. Fifth pick, go to Disney World. Sixth pick, don't fall on super hard times. And seventh round money shot pick, not eat at a chain restaurant. And then for me, my first round pick, diving with sharks. Second round pick, getting remarried. Third round pick, move to the big city. Number 4, stay in a really, really bad cheap hotel. Number 5, lose a friend over a disagreement. 6, buy cheap headphones. And 7, eat at a bad restaurant.
I like considering the fact that I pulled that list out of my ass completely. I like it, but I'm gonna say that I think I like some of the picks on your list a lot more.
I think it was a good, well-rounded 14 picks.
Yeah, I agree.
Because this was a tough one. Like, I had like 2 right away, like the shark one and something else. I don't remember which that was. But then as I sat and really thought about it, like other things started popping in my head. So I think it was a good experiment. I like it. Yeah,
I was getting nothing. Like, I was sitting and like, I spent lunch hours just going like, what would you, I was getting nothing.
Yeah, we're both not really like, no, we're not doing that. We're both like, no, we'll give it a shot. We'll try it once.
Right?
But as we're tidying up, Richard, do you have any Richard's closing thoughts on our anti-bucket list draft?
I think a lot of these picks are just, at the end of the day, they're just kind of lessons that I think that Shawn and I, with our combined years of experience, are just trying to impart. Hey,
76 years of experience.
Be a little nicer and don't yell at the drive-through lady. And it's okay if your best friend wants to, jerk off Elon Musk into his hair and you're not into that.
I mean, I'm sure it's as white as his skin was. Have you seen the picture?
Woof. But it's okay. At the end of the day, he's still your bud. He's still your bestie. He's still your bro.
Okay.
The end.
I love it. All right, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Visit our website. We're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languageofbro. Email us at bros@languageofbromance.com. And what shouldn't be on your anti-bucket list is joining our Patreon. So go out and join our Patreon like Wendy and Aaron.
I don't care I don't care what they like. And I love everything that they love. Doesn't matter.
Perfect.
I'm throwing all my convictions out the window for both of them.
Oh, God. What if they have conflicting things?
Oh, shit.
That's why there's 2 of us and 2 of them.
Dibs.
All right. Well, is there anything before I close her out?
No, I'm good, sir.
All right. Well, that's all the bromance have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
Remember, don't B-O-Y. B-O-Y not. That was fun.
Now it's time to kick the bucket.
Oh, glad I didn't do any of those things.
I hate you so much.